upon a star.
Now we want you to share with us our latest and greatest dream. Disneyland.
Just go to Action Park. There's no other park like it.
Six Flags Great Adventure. It's not a world away.
Paramount's Kings Island.
We will officially open Universal Studios Florida.
Hello, I'm Michael Eisner.
Now, here is your host.
Hi, welcome to the Defunctland podcast. My name is Kevin Perger. Today in our post-episode discussion, we will be discussing everything Magic Kingdom, and I'm very, very excited. I also don't want to waste any time, so let's just get to it. And now onto our very special guest star, Disney Dan. This is actually his second time appearing on the Defunctland podcast. He was also in a brief appearance on the Action Park episode. So I guess welcome back, Dan.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it. Yeah, I am. This is kind of like my I don't know if you would call it my first appearance. I was just reading one of your listeners' nice responses to your call for info. But I'm always happy to be a participant with Defunctland in any way, shape, or form.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to go there one day. I should, we talked enough that I should show you the VR build, the elusive, secretive builds that may or may not be happening.
Yeah, no, I'm super stoked about that because I love. I've been a fan of your channel from the beginning. I think I've been watching your videos for as long as I can remember. They've been put out, so I love that we're now buddies and making stuff together. Makes me happy. It's
great, and I don't know if you know this, but we have a bit of a challenge today.
Okay,
it's a bit of a marathon. So full disclosure, we just did a crossover on the top 5. It was a clickbait palooza. The top 5 best. I can't even think of it now. What is it? Walk-around characters.
Top 5 walk-around characters. Yeah.
Yes, it's so memorable. It was a memorable episode.
You really you had a lot of passion in the project, Kevin. So it was real. It was.
I remember it like it was yesterday, like it was last week. Yes, the top 5 extinct walk-around characters. There we go. And so I thought for the podcast, Disney Dan's coming on. We have 3 options. First, Dan and I can talk about our walk-around character experiences at the parks. 2, we could have someone else come on, and both of us could interview this person. Or 3, we could talk about my trip to the Magic Kingdom that I just went on this weekend. And I obviously picked the last one because walk-around character stories are a bit all the same unless you go really deep into them. And so I didn't really want to make a call to everyone give me your walk-around character stories because it would be like, it's hot in the costume and kids are mean sometimes. Yep. Unless we got the person that was part of the Tigger court case, which you promised that I could go on your show and talk
Kevin,
about that,
I
right?
promise after my upcoming video, which is Thanksgiving related, Tigger is next on the docket. So all those, and no pun intended with the docket comment. So I promise that as soon as we get this Thanksgiving video out and done, beginning of December, I'll be back into the groove of making more weekly content. And Tigger is next on the list, and featuring a nice long-winded segment by you about Disney and legal proceedings.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I know my fans are too.
Yeah.
Definitely the top comment on our video.
Yeah, right. So. It's coming. I promise. I was so, for those who a little behind the scenes, I didn't know how Kevin was going to end the podcast, the episode that I did with him with the crossover that we just did, and the ending of it just tickled me so much. So thank you for that, because I audibly guffawed I can't remember where I was, but in a public place, and so people were all looking at me, and really great little ending to the video. And now I can't wait we got to make it happen now. So which was always the plan, but now it's definitely happening. So
right, we don't have a choice though, so we're doing it and we're looking forward to it. But we are not going to be talking about walk around characters today, but I am glad to introduce our little bit of walk around characters. Is that we're going to go to our first segment today, which is Blast from the Last, and we're going to check in on how Ron is doing. Although I'm told Ron could not do a Blast from the Last, so I believe in his place the Dream Finder is here. Take it away.
Hello there, Kevin. The Dreamfinder here. Figment's not with me. He's off on a flight of fancy. And frankly, I don't really miss him at times like this. You have no idea what it's like living with a mischievous purple dragon. I thought I'd tell you one of my favorite stories from back in my days strolling around Imagination. I was going through the Imagination garden, and I found a little boy looking up at me, his eyes as big as saucers, maybe 5 or 6 years old. I kneeled down to talk to him, introduced him to my dragon, and finally I had to go. I got up, and I said, well, I've got to go now, goodbye. And the child looks up at me with tears in his eyes and goes, goodbye, Jesus. I had no idea what was going on. I kind of laughed. Everyone around me laughed, and the child was just crying, going, goodbye, Jesus, bye-bye, Jesus. I could just hear him when he got home. I met him. He has 2 heads, and he called me by my name.
Well, thank you, Dreamfinder. See, now the Blast from the Last provided our wonderful walk-around character experience today, which means we can now talk about my vacation, which is why I created this platform, so I could talk about the one vacation I get to go to Disney a year. I'm unfortunately not one of those YouTubers that goes every weekend, every day, although I'd like to. But no,
don't lie. The real reason you made this show is to write off your Disney trips, not to talk about your Disney trips.
Yes, it was all tax purposes. Yeah, it's for my very rare, but I don't get to go to Disney very often. So I went to the Magic Kingdom, and it was a wonderful experience. I got to eat all the food, but I wanted to talk about the attractions because I have not got to talk about it. We talked about Epcot, which was the first episode of the podcast, and we've talked a lot about specific attractions at all the parks, but I really just wanted to talk about Magic Kingdom, Walt Disney World today.
Yeah, so, I've been a frequent guest of the Magic Kingdom and the Walt Disney Resort through my entire life. It's been, I mean, it must be at least 24 times now I've vacationed at Walt Disney World. And Magic Kingdom is a wonderful place. I love it. It's like magic walking through the gates. So
it's like a magic kingdom.
Yeah, it's like a magical kingdom of sorts. There's
of sorts. It's I can't put a finger on it, but so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go Tomorrowland, Fantasyland, Liberty Square, Frontierland, and Adventureland. That's the order. Going around the park. And we're going to talk about every attraction of that I picked, which is about 34 or 35. And we're going to give each other 35 minutes, and we're going to talk about every attraction. So we can pass if we don't ride these very often. There's a few that I'm just like, pass. But if I rode it over the weekend, I want to talk about it. There's a few questions in here for the audience, but we are going to be going fast. So let's pray that the internet works.
Okay.
And so we can hear each other. Because believe it or not, folks, these podcasts, this is a very meta, very open podcast. These podcasts are not filmed in the same room. Some people really overestimate my travel budget. I'm in my room and Dan's in his room, and we are talking over
We are
Skype.
in our respective homes.
But hopefully the connection's fast enough to where we can go back and forth. So are you ready to start the timer?
Let's rock it.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. Tomorrowland, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin. What do you think?
It's great. It's a fun little laser attraction. I never get there very good of a score. Not anywhere near like Toy Story Midway Mania, but it's still fun. Fun to ride around.
It needs a major update. I think it's great, and I think it's wonderful, and it's a perfect attraction for Tomorrowland. I love it so much. Tomorrowland is, in general, the Magic Kingdom is so well themed. I can't say that for Disneyland, but at the Magic Kingdom, it's not just Star Wars. It's has great inclusions of animation, has great inclusions of all these movies, and I really loved Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin throughout the years. The last time I rode it, while I was getting on, I think it has a moving walkway as you get on one of those that if I'm not mistaken, and my ring finger got caught in this little hole on the railing, and it got yanked, and I'd broken that finger in the past at the joint, so my experience was horrible, because, well, one, I was in a cart by myself, so I was double wielding pistols, and I got a horrible score both times. So that's my Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin experience, but I really like its inclusion in Tomorrowland.
Yeah, I know that you think that it should be updated, but it's never going to happen. At least not in the next 10 years or so, because it's just a warhorse attraction. It's timeless in that it's not tied to any of the film's plot, and it's just going to continue to be what it is with occasional refurbs. and repaints.
Which is wonderful. I just need a few refurbs, make it look a little bit more new. And I think they did that with the animatronic. Anyways, we gotta go on. Monsters Inc. Laugh 4.
We can pass this one. I mean, it's an attraction in so much as that it's a kind of like a half-assed interactive kind of thing that panders to kids, and I don't think what needs to be discussed.
Okay, I went on it. It was fine. I'm just always afraid they're going to call on me. I was wearing my Defunctland shirt, so I was like kind of covering it up. I'm like, I don't want because that's going to ask too many questions instead of answering them.
Yeah,
and they always pick on that one guy, and it's always funny. It is funny. It's just, it's what it is. It's interesting. I like how it's in Tomorrowland. I think it's cool. I think it's a good addition as well.
It is. It's fun.
So, Stitch's Great Escape.
Yeah, there's a whole Defunctland episode about that. Just go watch that, and you'll get Kevin's opinion.
We do have a question though. Nick Lombardo, Stitch's Great Escape. What would you replace it with?
Oh, you know what? I would, if I was Disney, I would rotate it just like they do so many of their other rides with Alien Encounter. At least to, I mean, I'm sure that animatronic's dead, but in my opinion, there was enough people who loved it, and as much as so that hated it. I would rotate it around Halloween, bring it back, do something seasonal with it, because they're already doing it seasonal in the first place. That would be my pitch.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what I would like to replace it. It needs to be replaced with something. But I whatever it is, I just want them to keep the circular seating. I want that same show building. I don't want them to tear it out because that building has a lot of history.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool building for sure.
Yeah, and it's an interesting ride concept, and Imagineers of geniuses, they'll figure out some way to use that circular seating. All right, next, Astro Orbiter.
There's like 4 of those rides in the park. We don't even need to go into it.
There's only 2 other ones. I have never ridden Astro Orbiter, to be honest. I don't ride any of those attractions.
No, there's 2 Dumbos now, so there's definitely 4. Magic Carpet, Dumbo, and Astro.
Oh, is there 2 Dumbos?
There sure is, yep.
Where are they?
Right next to each other.
Oh,
right?
Really?
Out back. If you're not paying attention, you wouldn't realize that there's 2 of them right next to each other, but there's definitely 2 of them right next to each other. It's like a glitch in the Matrix kind of thing that if you just know that Dumbo's there and you just look past it. But yeah, there are 2 of them with like a circus tent, like waiting area between the 2 of them.
See, I don't know anything about attractions that are currently there, but if it went defunct, I'd be like, bring it back, but I don't know if it's actually, there's 2 of them. Like, if the second Dumbo ride closed, I would be on there the next day saying, this is my favorite ride, but if it's there while I'm there, I have no idea. There's your little behind the scenes. Obviously, I'm joking. I care.
Anyway, Astro Orbiters.
Astro Orbiter, it looks cool.
Yep.
It's a good addition to Tomorrowland, so...
Yeah, it's beautiful to look at, but not necessarily high on my party. I never ride it. I've ridden it once, and that's it.
Yeah, and the line's too long for it to be worth it, I think. But I haven't ridden it, so who am I to say? Space Mountain.
Space Mountain's great. I mean, what's there to say? But it's a classic. It's an institution.
It's horrifying. It is the scariest ride at Magic Kingdom, apart from one that I'm going to talk about. 2 of them. Okay, it's not the scariest ride, but it's horrifying. It is a horrifying ride because it was like built in the 70s. The queue is always empty, even though the wait times can get really long. It always seems like it's empty from the way they wind you in there. I've never gotten to the end of the line and just been... I look around and there's no one in the other lines because I know they split you and one's the fast pass one and that's kind of empty. It just seems like no one else is riding this and you don't know if there's a ceiling, and it's a really scary ride. I need to do more research onto how it is exactly set up at both Disneyland and Disney World, because I forget with refurbishments and with the layovers how
Kevin,
exactly...
I'm surprised you haven't at least once watched Space Mountain with the lights on YouTube. I mean, there's so many.
I have. No, I have.
Oh, okay.
I have. Many times. Many times.
That hasn't demystified it for you at all? Made it a little less scary?
No, that's even more horrifying. The fact that because I know it's there. I know that if I reach my hand out, it could get chopped off. That's what's horrifying about it. I know, obviously, but it's a horrifying. It's clanky. It was built in the 70s. It's a terrifying ride in the dark. It's awful. I'm sorry. You can disagree.
I'll give it to you. That's fine. I'll
right.
give it to you. What you need to do is get some like Ghostbusters night vision goggles and ride it.
I think that'd be even more scary. Okay, moving on. We don't have time to dwell on the fact that the Space Mountain's horrifying. It's just someone in the comments will agree with me, or they're all gonna be like, Kevin, you are such a total wimp. But no, it's horrifying. I was scared out of my mind. Okay. Even on the way up, never. Okay, it's sorry. And the light tunnels, and then you don't know that you're going into a light tunnel until the lights turn on. It's scary.
Do we pause the 35 minutes while you're going off into tangent about how terrified you are about things?
Tomorrowland Speedway. Screw this ride. Speed, its name is hilarious if you ever watch people ride it. I was with a group of people that didn't know much about Disney, and like, it's the Cars ride. I'm like, no, that's Tomorrowland Speedway. And right as I said Speedway, this guy just like clanking along. Craig Morrison from Facebook asked, Tomorrowland Speedway too outdated or nostalgic pleasure?
It's my second Distory video ever I made about the Tomorrowland Speedway, and it's one of the most physically changed rides in the park. How they have retooled the track on it, and the way that it's built and laid out. It's changed a significant amount, like 5-6 times. So for that and alone, I think it's kind of interesting. But otherwise, it's a pass for me. I don't need to inhale noxious fumes, drive by the smoking section, which is tucked behind it, and it's just a pass for me. I usually
it's awful. I remember riding it, and I was not amused. I didn't ride it this go round, but all right. Here's the second scariest ride at the park: the People Mover, Tomorrowland Transit Authority.
Yeah, the section that takes you through the Space
Mountain is horrifying.
It is horrifying. It certainly is horrifying. Because you you speed into it and then you go really slow. It is terrifying. It has a little bit of a creepy, terrifying horribleness to it.
It is absolutely horrifying. I'm not making this up. It is the scariest thing ever. And it was going so slow. My friend was like, "Oh my gosh, the People Mover's breaking down. There's no narration." I'm like, "Dude, they can't play a narration in Space Mountain, or it's going to throw off the vibe of Space Mountain when you're riding Space Mountain. We're not supposed to be here right now. This is a mistake. We got to get out of here." It's the scariest thing ever.
It really is terrifying.
It is absolutely horrifying. But there's also some interesting, and it's weird. It's just a weird ride. I mean, there's some interesting parts. I really like the People Mover. It is a wonderful leisure, halfway through the day ride. Fantastic. It is. You will be in absolute bliss. It's just, everything is perfect. You see the castle, you see all of Tomorrowland. I think it's wonderful. But it's also horrifying. So, anyways.
Now we all know what Kevin has nightmares about, so.
Yeah. So here's another horrifying ride, is Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress.
No, Kevin Perjury, you did not just say that. It is a treasured gem of Disneyland's attraction history.
Okay, you were the person that had to research America Sings and the horrific death that a cast member experienced on that ride. And then
I thought she died during America Sings, not Carousel of Progress.
She did. I just said that. Do you not watch my videos?
I do watch them, but I'm saying, so don't have that death be on Carousel of Progress's shoulders. It's not its fault. It's America Sings' fault.
You're right. It's not its fault. But okay. Anyways, let me explain. Mike Ricotta asked, Carousel of Progress, great or super great? So you're saying super great.
I'm saying incredible, and I have an insanely awesome pitch about how to make it even better, but we don't have the time for it right now, but I can't wait to tell you about it. But it's
tell me about it at the end.
One of the greatest rides ever.
I think it's a great attraction. I think I didn't have a great seat when I went this go around. I definitely went because you got to go on it. But I don't. It's at that point right now where it's laughable because of the storyline.
Yep.
But I think if they just kept it for 10 more years and showed this is what people thought the future was going to be like, it would be 1,000 times better. Yeah. I don't know. But I don't know. Yeah. That's a hard one. That's a loaded question. But it is enjoyable. I was on it and the Mulan soundtrack started playing by mistake. I don't know how they queued that up. But you could kind of hear, like, it was an instrumental to I think it's not I'm gonna make a man out of you. It was one of the other ones. Anyways,
let's get down to
no,
Reflections or whatever.
No, it's the other one. It's the one about how they're a girl worth fighting for. It's like, dun 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 dun. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not right. And then they like immediately shut it off, and I was like, that was weird. Why did they have that in the queue? Some worker was just listening to that and accidentally plugged it in the wrong cord. Anyways, we're on to Fantasyland. We're running out of time.
Kevin, time segments are not your friend, man.
So I'm so sorry. Everybody loves when I talk longer. I don't get it.
Okay, Fantasyland, go.
Or they hate my voice. Anyways, Dumbo the Flying Elephant.
There's two of them, Kevin. I don't know if you knew that or not.
There is. Can we pass on this one?
Sure.
Okay.
It has a revolutionary cue that you don't know about apparently, but it's cool.
Okay, I will have to talk to you about the revolutionary queue. Again, I am Defunctland. I'm about the past. I become interested in rides right before they close down.
Well, I'm surprised that you're not more interested in it because of how many rides got removed when it was built. Well, the new one
I'm
was
interested
built,
in it because of the cast member that fell off the Skyway and fell into its bushes.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Sure do.
Yep.
All right, next, Barnstormer.
Nope, it's a small world. We're not going into that order. I got this off Wikipedia. I'm not a scientist. Okay. It's a small world.
Disneyland's version is significantly better, so I don't know.
Oh, thank gosh, because I rode this and I was like, can they tear this down? I did not like it. It's just not a fun ride. I don't know. Maybe it's a kid's...
it's plywood, painted colors with a bunch of servo-controlled dolls. I mean,
it's awful. I mean, it's not awful. It's awful, though. Am I allowed to say that? Are people going to be mad at me to say mad?
I'm surprised that you haven't done a video about the dude who sued the physically disabled dude who sued the Disney Corporation because his ride vehicle got stuck and they couldn't safely get him off the vehicle. And so he got stuck for a few hours listening to the same track over and over and over again and went insane. I'm surprised you haven't done a video about that.
What, did the attraction close down? That I didn't make a video about it, Dan. Do you not get Defunctland? There's a thing.
Okay, fine.
Okay, but yeah, no, it's a small world. It's a boring world, and it's a long world, and the queue is horrible. Anyways.
It has a huge capacity, and it can and it houses a lot of people very quickly.
Yeah, it huges a lot of capacity because there's about 10,000 people that get stuck on back-to-back boats at the end of the ride.
Yep. What are you going to do, Kevin? It's an institution.
I get it. Yeah, I know. But it's not one of my favorite institutions. Also, the ceiling tiles are gross.
Yes, they are.
Mad Tea Party.
It's the teacup ride. It's in every freaking theme park and touring carnival in the history of mankind. I mean,
but it's an institution and it's fine.
It is, yeah. It's fine.
I don't ride it, but some people do, and good for them.
Don't eat any churros. Don't eat a bunch of churros before going on it because you're not going to feel well getting off of it.
I did have a churro. Mickey's PhilharMagic.
Mickey's PhilharMagic is great. It's really wonderful. I love it.
It is.
It's very Muppets 3D to me, and that's like very close to my heart. And so I think it's really great. I think it's so funny, and the fact that the screen is so massive and you don't realize that walking in is also a treat. When everything finally opens up and it's really a spectacle. I love it.
The only thing that I wish is that they would elevate the seats, make the seats a bit more staggered. Because it's pretty flat, and so I feel bad for the kids that are behind me, and I kind of duck down so they can see a little better, because I'm a good person. Throwing that pitch out there that I'm a good person, that's why you should listen to the podcast. But but I do it because I just feel bad. I'm like, I want the kids to see, but also that means the head cuts off really hurts the 3D, because that 3D is really in your face 3D, which is fun. Yeah. Also,
don't take it upon yourselves to compensate for parents who don't plan accordingly and seat their children where they need to be seated, Kevin. It's not your responsibility. You're there
screw
to enjoy
kids.
The park.
You're right. It's those kids' faults for having those crappy parents. They shouldn't have a good time at Disney. You're right, Dan. Disney Dan. I hate kids.
Please don't say that. I've got a few of my own.
Channels.
But as a father who knows that I want my kids to enjoy the $150 ticket that I just bought for the day, I would then want them to enjoy everything and seat them where they need to be sat so they can see what they want to see.
Not all kids could have Disney Dan as their father as much as they would like to. Okay,
fine.
A couple things on Mickey's PhilharMagic. It squirts you with water, and theme park squirted with water is one of the most uncomfortable feelings in the world. I experienced this every ride at Universal Studios the day after I went to Magic Kingdom. That little squirt that feels like it was just for you. Like a little cast member just like washed their hands and was like, pew! Just like they walk by, pew, there's a little water for you. It's the grossest thing ever. It's not enough to get you wet at all. It disappears immediately, but it's enough that's not like, it's like someone washed their hands and walks by you and flicks it at you. It's disgusting. It has a couple of those. Also, it feels the most like the Disney Cruise Line. And I talk about Disney Cruise Line a lot. I know, but if you ever been on the Disney Cruise Line, that has the smell and feel of the Disney Cruise Line, and I was in heaven. I was just, oh my gosh, because it didn't feel like a queue. It just felt like, oh, I'm just walking in. It's mine. I get to go into the theater, and it had just a few little nice little imaginary things like Goofy, like the speakers walking through around the theater and stuff.
Yep.
Really great stuff. So that's all I'll say about Mickey's Filler Magic. It's fun. Peter Pan's Flight, didn't ride it. Didn't have 3 hours.
Yeah, you know what, though? What I'll say is, and I'm sure if you haven't been there lately, the queue that they have changed, the new queue for Peter Pan's ride is really just a treasure. It is so much fun. It's so gorgeous. It's all interactive. You go through the darling kid's bedroom. It's really, really a ton of fun. And it's worth almost waiting on the ride because the queue is just so magical. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. So if the queue is like less than, I'd say, 10, 15 minutes, if you can go during a parade when the park first opens, something like that, the technology and the magic and just the wonder that they put into the queue to keep you busy while you're waiting for 2-3 hours because it's the most popular ride at the park. I mean, it's definitely worth it if you can get a short enough queue to slowly walk through it and tour it without having to wait too long.
Yeah, that's I really I enjoyed Peter Pan's Flight as a kid, but for some reason I remember as a kid just being able to go on it over and over again. I don't know what happened, why the resurgence in popularity, or maybe I was just there on a weird day.
So it's an OG ride, man. It's just people. It always has a queue that's at least an hour or two long. It just always does.
Right.
You can't avoid it.
All right, Prince Charming's Carousel, pass.
Yep.
It's a carousel. Seven Dwarves. It's a very nice carousel. It's a carousel. Seven Dwarves. I'm afraid of offending people. But you didn't talk about carousel enough.
Yeah, well, it's the carousel. It's got that one horse that is dedicated to Julie Andrews, and that's about all that's interesting about it. So,
Seven Dwarves Mine Train.
It's a really beautiful ride. Have you ridden it?
Yes, I have. I went straight for Fantasyland and rode that first because I hadn't been there since that opened. If anybody wants to do the math on how long it's been since I've been to the park.
Yeah, it's an incredibly short ride, unfortunately, but they do repurpose a lot of animatronics from other parts of the park that were abandoned, including the vultures from, that's in Disneyland, never mind. But the animatronics from the Snow White ride that's now defunct are now in the end scene of that ride, which is
in
cool.
the most creepiest inclusion of all time. It's horrifying.
Yeah,
that
it's
part
a little weird.
It's I as a fan of theme parks, I was like, oh, that's cool. It's from the ride. As a person that exists on the planet Earth, I also was like, this is the scariest thing I've seen since Space Mountain. But it was horrifying to see those animatronics there. And I love the new animatronics that are in there. Some people don't like them. I really like them. I think
the mining scene animatronics are beautiful with the animated eyes.
Yeah, I think the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and I think this is safe to say, it's Disney's best step since Iger took over. The best new attraction. Just a perfect addition, an absolute perfect addition.
It definitely is. It definitely is a beautiful addition.
It feels, it's brand new, but it feels like it was there when the park opened because it just is so.
It feels like it's always been there because they cleared out a huge section of the park. I mean, they demolished a lot in both parks.
Yeah, they took away
for that.
Pooh's thoughtful spot.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that was that the last thing that was there before Fantasyland, New Fantasyland. We don't have time for me to repeat the videos. But yeah, so I love it. It was great. Q's okay. The interactive stuff is not my favorite.
I fast pass it every time I go. So.
Okay, so the Barnstormer. I have never ridden the Barnstormer. Full disclosure.
Oh, you've never been on it? Well, I have a kid. I have two kids, and it's fun. The queue is kind of it's short, but it's like it bakes you in the sun depending on when you go. But it's a short little roller coaster. My daughter loved it. It's actually what got her addicted to trying all the other roller coasters in the park because she's like, "Oh, this is what a roller coaster is? Okay, great. I love it. Let's do this everywhere else." So for that, I appreciate it.
Right. I don't have a kid. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This is a terrifying ride, horrifying. In fact, I audibly screamed, "I am not a chicken, I am not a wimp," but when Tigger popped out, I was so scared. Do you remember this part of the ride when Tigger jumps out for the first time?
Yep.
He
yeah, I
comes
have the
out
right. I have the right 360, like a 360 video on my channel, and I rewatch it quite a bit, and it's that's definitely I can see that.
Under the Sea, Journey of the Little. Oh wait, sorry, I missed Blake Taggart's question. Do you like or hate the Winnie the Pooh ride?
I think it's fine for what it is. It's better than but you're clearly terrified by it. So I mean, I guess we're neutral on it when you
I liked it. I thought it was fine. It's if you catch it at the right time, there's not a long wait, and it's whatever. If you like Winnie the Pooh, I'm sure you like it. Yep. I don't have time to read everything, so it'd be interesting to go back and try to read everything in there. I hate rides that make me read. Okay, so moving on, I like it too. Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid.
It's beautiful. I take it this is your first time on it?
Yes.
Yeah, and so you've missed out on a lot of animatronics that they changed out because of how terrible they looked, including Ariel in Under the Sea. She used to have like this weird soft serve hair that was reminiscent of the scene where the fish whirlpool around her and like pull her hair up and make it kind of like it's swirling underwater. But so they recaptured that as the animatronic for that scene, and it kind of looked like she literally had soft serve ice cream hair in the way that it was like swirling and sitting on her head. So that was one of the things that they changed. They kind of like revamped the ride a year after it came out, and it's now wonderful. It really is. I think it's a great attraction, and the Ursula animatronic is drop dead beautiful.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it? You didn't like the ride at all?
Not really.
The fact that they like kind of pan over the entire climax and resolution of the film really bothers me.
That bothered me. I guess I should have watched The Little Mermaid. I didn't know I had to do homework before I came in here because I feel like Ursula's just electrocuted or whatever, and it's a great addition to New Fantasyland.
My daughter, who's a fan of Little Mermaid, loves it.
It's a fantastic children's ride, and
it is.
If I was able to ride it over and over again, I'm sure I would really appreciate it. But as someone that just had never seen a ride through on YouTube actually, and had never known about the ride, I just found out that it existed. Because again, I'm more concerned with rides that shut down.
Well, pull out your Google Cardboard and hop on my channel. I've got a great 360 ride through of it. So
I spent more time looking for the Nautilus in the queue than I did actually paying attention. and there was no line. So if you saw Kevin at Magic Kingdom, he was just like analyzing all the rocks. I looked like an insane person. Anyways, Walt Disney World Railroad. I've never ridden it. I've seen ride-throughs on YouTube. I wish I could ride it, but my party voted no, so unfortunately I didn't get a chance to ride it.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's like we have said, like I've told you in previous conversations, it goes through a few attractions, including Splash Mountain, which we'll get to. So.
Right. Liberty Square. The Hall of Presidents was closed. I've never actually seen Hall of Presidents in person. I've seen it on YouTube, but as I haven't been there in a while, I was younger and more scrappy, and I don't want to I want to go on Big Thunder Mountain because that's the kind of person I am at that time and that mindset of my life before I became so enthralled in the theme park industry that I can't escape. But
yeah, when we're done recording, let me tell you a little bit about the Hall of Presidents.
Yeah, for sure.
Off the air.
Off the internet. Well, I know it was closed, and it said closed to welcome our new president, and I was just like, ooh, there's a can of worms that I'm not going to open on the podcast or give any indication to opinions on, because the world is a horrible place, and we can all take solace in the fact that it doesn't matter what our political opinions are, because we all love rides, and Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln's probably better anyway. So we're all theme park fans.
Except he does the full Gettysburg Address in that ride. The full address. Like the full knock him out and drag him down 15-20 minute speech. It's
nap time.
Painful. It's painful.
And let me tell you, it is not as inspiring as the first 3 sentences.
No.
It wears off.
Kevin, if that's not a T-shirt on the Defunctland YouTube store.
Moving on to Haunted Mansion. TJ Schneider asked your favorite ghost in Haunted Mansion and why. I haven't written it enough. I want to say Hatbox, but we're not at Disneyland because I can't be generic. I like the ride a lot. I'm trying to think. There was in the attic scene, or was it not the attic scene? It was the graveyard scene. There's a lot going on. I wish I had more times to ride it because I really wanted to take everything in.
Yeah, it is my number one ride. If you were to walk into my office at work, you would see a whole corner of my office dedicated to the Haunted Mansion and various collectibles and such. It is between the just gorgeous narration by Paul Frees and just everything about that ride just makes me so insanely happy. I will ride it time and time again. I at least ride it 3 to 4 times every time I'm in Magic Kingdom. It doesn't mean no matter if I'm like doing it for like half a day. I'm in and out of that ride a few times. It just is the greatest ride that has ever been produced, and probably to be rivaled by the alternate version, the Mystic Manor. But still,
I've heard that's better. I want to go to Paris. Donate not the Phantom Manor. Is that what it was? That is it not called that anymore?
Phantom Manor's in Paris, and that's the Cowboy Haunted Mansion. Mystic Manor is the one that's in Hong Kong.
I want to ride both of these.
Norms.
And on a side note, an unrelated note, donate to my Patreon, patreon.com/defunctland. Right after I want to go to Paris.
I will 100% arrange that trip, and we'll double down and make a bunch of content together because I desperately want to go to the Asia theme parks.
That's not what my Patreon's for. I mainly use it to buy plugins or pay people to write songs for the credits. That's not what I use it for. Buy plugins for the VR experience. Haunted Mansion's an incredible ride, and I will say that when I was okay, first of all, 2 things. One, we're gonna run out of time. The first thing, not that we're gonna run out of time, is that I did not realize that there was a hanging scene. I haven't looked it up yet. I haven't Googled and researched the ride myself enough to understand every part of this, but I was shocked because I forgot about that as a kid. It never registered. Or that I just didn't see it. I don't know. But a girl's hung up on the ceiling.
If you don't want to sleep for the next couple days, Google what it actually looks like, because that thing is like an up close photo of it is not pretty. It is terrifying. Man, they took absolutely terrifying.
I mean, that's just audacious to have in that ride. Absolutely,
that's the ghost host. That's how we entered them. That's how we got into the mansion, by hanging himself. That's the ghost host himself up there.
Yeah, just incredible that they.
Kevin, I know everything about the Haunted Mansion. It's like my lifeblood.
Okay, well then let me ask you this. This is my number 2 thing. I was walking out and I turn, I see a corridor open, and there was this ghost in a wheelchair being wheeled that wasn't actually moving. Was that an animatronic or was that just a person?
It was. It was a person. You were seeing the handicap entrance to the ride.
Was I? Because I was scared.
Which is in the exit. Unfortunately, you have to. Anyone who's handicapped, there's a little special hub that they enter. They get on it. They get on and off the ride after everyone disembarks, which is why the ride stops. While you're going through the Haunted Mansion, because they stop the Omnimover to get handicapped people on and off in the special little room.
I've actually been when I went to Universal, I had to go through the handicapped entrance every time I went because we had a specific pass that allowed us to get to the front of the line. So yeah, and you have to go through the exit every time.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, that was a real person, Kevin.
Okay. Well, I'm not afraid of people with disabilities. That's not what I want it to sound like. It just seemed like a really late addition to scare me. Okay, whatever. Liberty Bell Riverboat. Can we skip it? Because I've never ridden it.
Yeah. That's fine.
Well, do you have anything to say about it?
Nope.
Okay. They're gonna be like, they better talk about that damn riverboat, son of a. Just like someone sitting there listening to this. The Muppets present great moments in American history. Another fantastic, in my opinion, addition to the park. Just wonderful, absolutely wonderful addition.
I'm very good friends with most of those people, and they are wonderful people, and it's the greatest thing ever. And I'll tell you another fun thing about the Muppets when the podcast is over.
Okay, fantastic. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful attraction.
There's going to be so many comments being like, I wonder what Dan and Kevin talked about when the podcast is
over. That's what we wanted to listen to. Frontierland, we are almost out of time. We might extend. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, I didn't ride it because the line was too long. I've ridden it many times in the past. It's fine.
Disneyland's is so much better. It really is.
It's so much better at Disneyland, or it's
so much better at Disneyland. Way better at Disneyland. Yeah. In Magic Kingdom, it was kind of like an afterthought leftover of a big theme of the Big Thunder Mesa, like land that they were going to roll in, and ultimately chopped, and so it's kind of got this like, okay, here's a little piece of land that we can use. Let's throw this in there because we already kind of did all the concept work and planning for it. And I don't know, I'm just not. It's not for me. I mean, it's great. It's really fast and it's a violent ride. It's a violent ride. It's a jar. There's some jarring motions in it.
Right. Well, yeah. Anyways, it's
in the
okay.
beginning. In the beginning of this segment, Kevin, you should dub over yourself like really loud and obnoxiously, being like 45 minutes
instead of 35. Okay, moving on. Let's get going. Country Bear Jamboree.
One of the greatest attractions in the park.
Okay. So first of all, two things here. One, I always have two things. One is that my friends did not know what this was. And
that's great.
I had the pleasure of saying, do you want to go watch the Country Bear Jamboree while we're waiting for our fast passes? And they said, what is that? I said, oh, just wait. Because if you don't know what that is, it's a horrifying ride. I mean, attraction. Just because the curtains open up and these animatronic bears, and then someone comes from the ceiling. Second thing, the hardest I laughed at the park all day was the cast member giving the opening before the doors opened. I don't know if it's the same thing every time, but this guy was hilarious.
Oh, the deadpan like cast who's done it like 100 times already that day.
Yeah, the one that is like these doors will be opening in a few minutes at 60 miles per hour. So if you don't want to get hit like a pinball, punted like a pinball throughout Frontierland, I would recommend standing back. And right when he said 60 miles an hour, I died laughing. He's like, there are no food and drink in the theater unless you want them. Is this the same time, or is this guy just amazing?
That's great. No, I haven't heard that delivery. No, that's
funniest thing. He must have made it his own because it was wonderful, and if it was just the best thing ever. It was. I cannot speak enough for how hard I was laughing at that cast member. And he was doing it as a country accent, and so he got on the mic and he just started coughing. He's like. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the. And he like tried to make his voice go really low for the coughing and really high, and it was the best thing that day.
Yeah, and also the great thing about Country Bear Jamboree is it's so wildly inappropriate at parts.
Oh my gosh, it continues, so bad.
It continues to maintain as just like I keep saying institution, but it's another Disney park institution, and it's dead in Disneyland. It's long gone now, replaced by Pooh. So hopefully it will go nowhere, and if you have the chance, go visit at Christmas and see the Christmas version of it because it's even better.
I cannot believe the all the guys that what is that? All the guys that love me, what is it? Turn me on, turn me down.
Oh yeah, all the guys that turn me on, turn me down. Yeah, the three girls.
Oh, we have 5 seconds left. Pirates of the Caribbean. No, okay, we're gonna extend this conversation 10 minutes. So
no, please dub over obnoxiously in the beginning. No, it just would be so much fun.
My listeners are gonna be like, "What? You guys talked about nothing of substance."
Yeah, and then you listened to it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you're if you got to this point,
you're just as guilty as us.
Oh yeah, whose fingerprints are these then? You weren't involved. You're certainly here.
Oh, that's great.
Splash Mountain. Wonderful attraction at Disneyland. Great attraction at Walt Disney World.
Currently closed.
With less animatronics. Currently closed. And so, yeah. And because we talked about this one-on-one, foundational issues, perhaps.
Yeah. Did you? I didn't do any research into it, but either foundational issues or health issues with mold. But it's down longer than it should be. At the different time, usually they take it down in the middle of the winter when no one wants to ride it because it's cold. But now it's down, and it's been down for a few months. And I don't know. I've heard from two different cast members two different things, so I haven't really looked into it super hard. And I doubt Disney will ever say the reason why it's been down for so long.
Dan, what are they going to do? Reopen it and be like, yeah, so you guys were about a month away from dying on this thing. Yeah. So you're welcome.
We're all Disney. So close to death.
Yeah, you have no idea. Like we waited way too long. It's a miracle nothing happened. Have a fun time.
Apparently the vultures were on the branch with just one really loose screw, you guys.
It was just a little chain. It was a golden chain. No, I think it'd be great if they opened. It's like, why did it take so long? Oh yeah, Uncle Remus is in it now. We added a couple Uncle Remus animatronics. Have fun with that, internet. Go crazy over that.
It's but I'll say this: my daughter's absolutely favorite ride. It's she loves it. We ride it marathon when we go 5, 6, 7 times. I will do everything I can.
How many fast passes does Disney give you, Dan?
They don't give me any. In fact, I'll tell you how I do it after.
After the podcast. Okay, moving on.
The podcast. Yep, moving on.
Frontierland shooting arcade. I don't do this because it's more money, right?
Yeah, pass.
Pass. Frontier. Oh, same thing. Sorry. Tom Sawyer Island. I don't do this because I don't want to.
I have a really, really, really great story coming up on my channel about Tom Sawyer Island.
Okay, do not plug your own channel on my podcast. That is not.
But I'm just to say that the only reason the story I'm about to put out is the only real thing that I find interesting about Tom Sawyer's Island. Otherwise, it's a pass for me.
Okay, great. Let's pass on it. The Tarzan version is entertaining, I think.
No. You're thinking about the treehouse.
Oh, sorry, Swiss Robinson Treehouse. Is that never at Disney World?
At Disney World, it's the Treehouse, Swiss Robinson. At Disneyland, it's Tarzan, but it's Tom Sawyer in both Disneyland and Disney World. Yeah, they have Tom Sawyer Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm cutting that part out. Or I'm not. Who knows?
No, that's part of the magic, man.
Kevin's actually an idiot. So
listen, it's still in the park. You don't care about it. We've already clarified this.
Yeah, it's still in the park. But if it announces it, I'm going to be there riding 1,000 times a day, or not riding, just walking through it, being like, "This is my island now." Try to take it from me, Disney.
Hashtag save the treehouse.
Hashtag I was here from the beginning. Behind the scenes. Walt Disney World Railroad again. What? Thanks, Wikipedia. Adventureland. Oh, this is our last thing. We're going to get through this. Yeah.
Yep, we're almost there.
Jungle Cruise. Connor Hibbert asks, hilarious ride with great animatronics, a good story, or overrated ride with jokes that have grown old?
Overrated ride with jokes that have grown old, and they hear through the grapevine that they're about to revamp the Holy Moses out of it. So,
it's really racist. I was. Did anybody notice how racist the end is with the cannibal?
With Trader Sam?
Yeah.
Trader Sam, man, is the friggin' institution of Disney. Everyone loves Trader Sam.
But Trader Santa is what he is in Christmas when I went.
He's Trader Santa right now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's great.
All the cannibal jokes. Is that not bad?
No, it's funny because cannibalism isn't real anymore. No one eats other people.
What?
I mean, like, in terms of things people are worried about.
It's not racist. No one's a slave. There's no slaves anymore.
Well, just in terms of, like, cannibalism, though, and, like, things that people worry about, it's, like, number, 143.
And I'm not someone just to call racist on everything, but whenever I see that, I'm looking around and I'm the only person thinking that this is a little weird. I mean, right?
Well, yeah, it's a little weird. I'll give you that, But I'll tell you what, that most Disney fans just love Trader Sam. I mean, he's got his own amazing bar now at the Polynesian, and it's just he's such a Trader Sam, man.
But he's a cannibal in every version, not just the Christmas version, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with the shrunken heads and such. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know how crazy you're sounding right now, right?
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've drank my fair share of the shrunken heads at his bar in the Polynesian Resort, and listen. I know what I sound like, but you just have to trust me on this one.
And I know, and I'm not saying it's racist, but I'm just saying, is it not racist? Okay, I don't want people to get mad at me in the comments, but am I that wrong? Okay, it was my first impression. Maybe I don't know. I stayed at the Polynesian a long time ago, when my parents were still paying for everything, and I was probably more into cannibalism back then. Anyways, let's move on to Dumbo. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. The Magic Carpets of Aladdin.
Yep. Listen. Smart ass. Yeah, it's got spinning camels.
You sound like the Imagineer that pitched this. They just busted into the room.
The spinning camels were an afterthought, actually. So no, they didn't pitch that in the beginning. What I think
for
my way of
my joke with a timeline of Imagineering.
The best part about the magic carpets is that when I see them, I know I'm closer to Dole Whip. So that's about all.
You just get a little bit of a spit on your back, and you'd be like, "Son of a bitch, Dole Whip's near." I know.
The Dole Whip is upon us.
I don't like pineapples, so I didn't enjoy Dole Whip. I got the not Dole Whip. I got the whip. I got ice cream.
Oh, you got the pineapple ice cream? Yeah.
No, I didn't get the pineapple ice cream. I got the vanilla because I don't like pineapple. I just said that.
Yeah, but okay. Well, listen, don't. I'm sorry that you're weird and not like the rest of all Disney fans who love Dole Whip. All right, so
no, I like the whip. I'm not sold on the Dole.
Okay.
That's a T-shirt. I'm not sold on the Dole.
I believe that was a opposition slogan for Bob Dole's presidential campaign. So I think you're a little late to the party there.
This Bob Dole joke is brought to you by youtube.com/DisneyDan. Although he does not have that URL because he's dumb and does not go and custom URL. Anyways, let's not talk about Disney Dan's lax YouTube upkeep. Let's talk about...
I have a custom URL. It's just left over from my Disney Infinity Code days.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, Disneyland's is way better, but it's still great.
It's 1,000 times better. So I rode Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean 3 times before I rode Magic Kingdoms once, and I still was not that into theme park history to understand the difference. And then someone was like, the other ones, I don't know, how many minutes longer? 7?
Yeah, about 8 minutes longer, yep.
And so I was like,
better.
there's no way. And
so instead, let's not talk about the Pirates ride and talk about the amazing interactive pirate adventure you can take in Adventureland. Did you know about that?
No.
Using your Fast Pass or using your Magic Band or your Park Pass, there are like this interactive like scavenger hunt puzzle.
I saw them doing this. It's like they do that on the...
It's incredible.
They do that on the cruise ships. That's been going on for years.
With the Muppets, right?
Yeah, well, the Muppets on the Fantasy and Mickey on the... It's Mickey's Detective Agency on the Dream, although I think after the dry dock that happened a year ago, it's now Muppets on both. I'm not for sure.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's so much fun. And then if you do 3 of them, you get free Fast Passes for Pirates, and you can just keep... And then every challenge you do after that, you get more Fast Passes. So I highly recommend doing this because A, it's a ton of fun, and B, you get unlimited pirate Fast Passes, especially if you make friends with the sole cast member who's running the booth by himself, who has no time to argue with you about giving you more Fast Passes. So, what I'll say is if there's a wait of more than 45 minutes for Pirates, go do 3 of these scavenger hunts, which take about 5 minutes apiece. Maybe 10 minutes because there's a little bit of walking around, but they are so much fun, so interactive, so unique and cool, and then you get a Pirates Fast Pass.
Interesting. Well, we got 20 seconds left, but let's just extend this another 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Let's do 5 minutes. Okay, go. Why are we even doing that? It's obviously meaningless. It just keeps me from going on tangents. Pirates of the Caribbean, the changes that are coming to it. Are you okay with these?
No.
No.
As Ex Atencio once said, they are now the Boy Scouts of the Caribbean and not the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, okay, here's my thing. I watched the auction scene, and they haven't changed anything yet, right?
Nope.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's really not. What's so bad about it? Why is it because they're pirates?
Human trafficking is what's bad about it, Kevin.
Oh,
you just went on a whole tangent about cannibalism, which is way, way, way down on the list underneath human trafficking. And you're like, what's so bad about human trafficking? leave it in the Pirates ride.
Okay. Okay. I guess I can see that. I see it. I see it now. But I don't.
Yeah, the ride has heavily implied things like rape, sexual assault, human trafficking, insane violence.
But that's what pirates do.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. That's what pirates do, and they are. Sanitizing it, and I'm very upset about it. I'm not happy about it at all, and I think it's completely pointless because it is for children who are riding through there for the first 15 to 20 or however old Kevin is life, who didn't realize that it's all about human trafficking.
I am 72, sir. Do not assume anything.
But once you understand
did you think I was in the age range of 15 to 20?
No. I was saying my joke was that you could be a 15-year-old and understand what it's about, or be as old as Kevin, supposed to understand what it's about, but and then be okay with it because it's what pirates do, and it's not a stretch of the imagination. It should stay.
I was gonna say I wish I had this YouTube channel at 15. Under the blanket,
too, right?
under the blanket of my parents' finances.
Right.
Where was I, Dan? I was talking.
You were upset about the fact that they're changing it, and it does.
But here's the thing. Does it need to be done? I don't know, because one, there's no story to Pirates of that ride. There's no story. And the inclusions of Johnny Depp are horrible in it. They're absolutely horrible.
Sure, they certainly are. There is a story in the Disneyland version, and then the Disney World version is a bastardized, thrown together thing that they did quickly that got all scrambled. So, I mean, I'll say that in Disneyland there's a story and it makes sense, but in Disney World it's just a hot mess. The bride auction should stay. It's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that human trafficking but it's not even joked about. If anything, it's actually a critical look at the pirate's life. I don't know. That's a hard one. I mean, obviously it shouldn't be changed. I don't think it should be changed. I think they should change the story. There's no story to it. I was very angry getting off the ride because I was just like, that was so short and not the best thing. It's not Disneyland at all. Because I'd watched the Disneyland ride through again before I went on it for whatever reason. I just wanted to torture myself.
For the sheer inclusion of the Blue Bayou restaurant and the ride through the swamp that's all enclosed prior to actually going on the Pirates ride, it just single-handedly makes Disneyland better, I think.
Well, it's
that whole environment.
It's how Walt Disney explained it, right? It's New Orleans Square, right? So you exit New Orleans by down a waterfall, like a hidden waterfall, and you enter the world of pirates, and then you go up the waterfall, and you're back in New Orleans Square.
You got it. Yep.
And
and on top of that, it's just so much better. But Pirates has long been the smell of the Pirates ride is my favorite smell on Earth.
All right.
I can't.
Yeah. Now you're whatever. Now you're Disney Dan, the mainstream.
Kevin, I'm telling you what, man, it's my favorite smell on Earth. I don't know what to say to you, man, but it's seriously my favorite smell on Earth.
Disney
the
Dan.
Pirates ride.
It's the safe choice.
I don't know what that means, and I'm offended by it.
It certainly wasn't a compliment, friend. I'm joking. Of course, my life is a joke. Moving on to the Swiss Family Treehouse.
Yes, this is the one that's Tarzan in Disneyland. I think I was on it 10, 15 years ago. It's just a lot of stairs, and I'm fat. It's just not for me.
I don't want to go on it.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a big draw. Oh, the Swiss Family Robinson.
Like, what is that, a TV show? I don't... Was a Little House on the Prairie sequel? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm joking, obviously.
Exactly.
I know exactly what that is. Just don't quiz me on it.
But it's been a long time, and no one cares.
The last one... Oh, gosh, I just dropped the timer. Dang it. Okay. Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room.
Oh, the Tiki room is great.
Well, the Tiki room is great. It's where the birds sing words and the flowers groom or bloom. Is it? It sounds like groom on the soundtrack.
Well, it's supposed to rhyme with room, and what do flowers do? They don't groom, they bloom, man.
But they move in the ride, so they could groom.
Okay.
I'm gonna look up these lyrics because I think you're wrong.
I know that it's and talk about being horribly racist. That ride is all recorded by white people with very, very, very culturally insensitive accents. And
the flowers. Oh, is it really?
Oh, all those people who recorded those are white people. 60 years ago.
Oh, hey, it's not. You're wrong, by the way. It's not. Not bloom. We're both wrong. It's croon.
Oh, croon. Okay.
Which is what does croon mean?
I was actually
it's a hum or sing in a soft, low
suave
voice, especially in a sentimental manner.
To be all kinds of suave. I was personally a fan of it being under new management. I thought that was a really great inclusion of the Disney IP into an otherwise kind of classic, but doesn't really hold kids' interest all that much, because all you hear is the clicking of all of the pistons of the ancient animatronics that are in there.
Yeah,
when
that
you see
was bad.
it.
That was really bad. Yeah, I watched it and I was like, this is great. It's the song.
Have you ever seen the under new management one where
No,
like Iago
I
and
didn't get a chance to
Zazu
see
and
that.
Yeah, it's actually really great. And if you're listening to this and haven't, hop on YouTube and watch it, because it's fun and it brings in a lot of great Disney characters and songs into that environment. But I love that environment. It's very much Trader Sam's with the fake windows and the fake rain and the volcanoes and the thunderstorms, and just it's I really love the environment inside the Tiki Room. I think it's really
I like
beautiful.
Rainforest Cafes too, Dan.
No, I don't like Rainforest Cafes. Come on, don't put words in my mouth.
No, I was really excited because I had this huge Disney playlist and I love the Enchanted Tiki Room song. And so for the first like minute and a half, I was like, Tiki, 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 Tiki Room, and they started singing other stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, can I leave? This is boring. And yeah.
And the clicking of the pistons in both Country Bear Jamboree with the 3 heads on the wall and all the flowers and birds and stuff clicking, like the animatronics pistons all clacking and clacking as they open and close. It's like very distracting.
I'm gonna talk all this crap about these rides that I didn't really love as much as I should have, and then they're gonna close. I'm gonna be like, oh gosh, now I
have to love them.
Now I have to love them so much that I will bring them from the dead and into VR.
I look forward to at least one of the rides we just talked about closing within the next 5 years, and me digging this podcast up and throwing it back in your face.
Yes, well, Dan, it's over. We did it. We did it in 35 minutes. I just checked the timer.
In what kind of gravity distortion was that 35 minutes is my question.
Have you seen Interstellar? It's like that, but not really. Yeah, so do you have any closing thoughts on the Magic Kingdom? I wish we could talk about it more. This was awesome. I love this. The audience is going to hate it, but
I really enjoyed it too. My final thoughts about the Magic Kingdom is that Disneyland's better.
Yes,
that's my final thoughts.
I agree. It feels like Disneyland light, and it doesn't it? Like,
well, it feels like Disney. It feels like Disneyland commercial is what it is. It's like the plussed up, shiny, expanded, overgrown, less thought after, less cared for version of Disneyland's tight, compact, concise, know what you're doing, know where you're going, know how you're moving. Just Disney World as a whole is a tourism location versus Disneyland being like the home of theme parks in my mind. And there's just this kind of core difference between the parks that just kind of eats away at me a little bit. The difference between most of the attendants being annual pass holders versus most of the attendants being tourism, international tourism. It's that difference that does it for me, I think.
But that castle is so much better.
Way better. Way
much better. It ties that part together. But it does, I will say, it makes the park feel really small. Because you can always see the castle.
Yeah.
So it's an upside and a downside, but
as a Disney fan, nothing will prepare you for the first time you walk into Disneyland in California and realize how tiny the castle is.
It is so small, Dan.
It's very small.
It is embarrassingly small, and it's a classic, so you can't change it, or I'm gonna have to do an episode on it. But it's so small. It doesn't even, like, the perspective of it. It's smaller than the buildings on Main Street, USA. From the perspective you are, because you're closer, so they look bigger. But it doesn't hold up. I don't know. But it's a classic. It really
doesn't. And if you want to see what they can, well, the problem is there's no space in Disneyland. But Hong Kong has the same castle, and they're about to do a massive addition to the back of it to make it very much like Disney World. So they're going to kind of like build it up and expand on it, leaving the original castle in front, which is going to be beautiful and awesome. But there's no room to do that in Disneyland, so it's never going to happen. It's just going to be the castle and that tiny little castle,
Well, I'm trying to think of any of my last closing thoughts, but you're gonna have to text me all this great this post conversation that we're gonna have. So I'm just gonna sign off unless you have anything else to say.
Nope, that's it. Thank you so much for letting me be on your podcast again. I really enjoy your channel. It's really wonderful. I enjoy all the Defunctlandians. Is that what? Do you have a name for your fans yet?
Defunct fans. But that makes them sound like they no longer exist. It's a hard thing, Dan. I call them the Defunctland community, which is a horrible, horrible title, but nobody's complained about it yet. So
I'm gonna keep calling them the Defunctlandians because I just think that is
that's where they exist.
Yep, and the Defunctlandians from Defunctland. But I love all of your fans. I love talking to them on your comment section when you don't mind me going in there and occasionally, saying hi to your fans. And
well, while we're at it, Dan, why don't you just plug your stuff? Just go for it.
Well, and anyone who wants to check out some of my fun stuff, which mostly is Disney, but occasionally dabbles in other fun things.
Yeah, like when Lego sends them a video game.
Yep. Well, I have a whole Lego website, Kevin. I have to do it.
And you have a great podcast. You just give them everything, Dan. Just go at it.
Okay, fine. I host a podcast called Getting Felt Up, a puppetry podcast with Dan and Nate.
You should really switch that. I host a puppetry podcast called Getting Felt Up.
No. The payoff comes after you get offended by the name and then realize that it's a pun.
Does it?
I'll tell you what, I've written many, many emails where I make sure that a puppetry podcast follows. We're the hosts of Getting Felt Up.
I was about to do the Whoa Pumbaa, the kids.
You can check me out on YouTube at Disney Dan, as well as my Lego website for Lego gaming and digital called brickstolife.com. And thanks again, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Anytime, Dan, and I mean that. We can do this anytime. But I know you have a life and you have kids.
As long as my kids are asleep, anytime.
When the kids are asleep, something that rhymes with that sentence. I'm not a genius.
Nope.
There's only one Dumbo ride. The Swiss Family Robinson treehouse is actually different, apparently,
than Tom Sawyer's Island.
Island.
By this callback now, you have to leave that into the podcast.
That's true. I left
Unless
it in.
you cut
I
this
left
callback.
It in everybody. Goodbye, Dan.
Goodbye, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. As always, I usually record this part after, but I'm just going to do it now because this is my worst appearance in a podcast of my composure. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting Defunctland.